in journalism in the first place?
I really wanted, initially, my main aim was to teach. I wanted to be a teacher, and
Teaching which subject?
teach probably mathematics, sciences, or business,
Mm.
yeah, something like that. But then midway through high school, I joined, or we started in our school. No, we were just the pioneer boys in that school, so we started a press club to highlight some of the issues in the school, our achievements. Actually, it was after our school did fairly well in some competition, a football competition, these inter-school games. So it was such a good news, and no one was even reporting it beyond the pitch where it was. So we felt like, no, we need a press club. Okay, the motivations could have been different because there are people who were in that club because they could get a trip or two to go and report the activities of the school. But then for me, I really wanted, like, let people know what is going on around our school. So in that, I was a member of the press club. I was not an official, but I was a member. I was one of the founder members, and from there we started appreciating what journalism is, because we could report about the incidents in school. We could ask questions where there are no clarity, like projects, rules. What is this rule going to help us with? Some of those things. So that really built in me. And when it came to selection for university placement, education was not in any of my options. It wasn't. My first choice was medicine. My second choice must have been something to do with biological sciences. And then I had media, the third option, and BSc, the general courses that we used to select. And the reason that's why I put media as the third option is because we were told that if you miss option one, job would always go to option three. So because I had really had this desire to be a journalist, and we used to select universities before exams, I think. Yeah, I think it was before exams. So that is my passion started growing with those incidents in school. I was a day scholar, and they probably know how day school works with people. So, and then I've also had this desire to be the prefect of the society, and I realized teaching cannot make me the prophet of the society. I will not have a platform. I realized I will not have a platform in teaching. So that is where I got interested in journalism. And come time when we joined university, I got fully into the course. I didn't even think twice about changing or transferring to another career. In terms of active practice, I've written for now 9 years. This is my 10th year. Because I began my debut. My first assignment was at the National Media Group, but before then, I was working for an NGO where I started a communication department. One of the deliverables of that communication department was a newsletter, a magazine. It never existed before, so I started it, put a magazine for the company, and I think it is also that idea that convinced. We used to call it Homa News.
Huh?
Homa News.
How many years?
Yes, the organization was called Homa Hills Community Development Organization. So I opened that newspaper. It's called Homa News. They still run it today. It's a monthly magazine that highlights the activities of that organization. So actually, it was one of the things that Nation considered when they were. I think they must have considered because I presented it in my interview that this is what I've been doing, and they saw the kind of stories that we used to write and all that. So it's now since 2012 I've been on this grind doing politics, business, and I had a short stint at the subs desk at the Star before I finally came back to do politics. It feels great. It feels great. I mean, who does not want to be acknowledged? I mean, it feels good. It's only that it comes with a lot of responsibility because when you're at the top, you really have to work hard to stay there. It's a tougher task working to the top. I mean, staying at the top than working to the top. Um, my focus has always been to go behind the glare in this face, the cameras. That which is displayed is not what is always there. That's always my policy. That which they are not telling us could be the story. So I take that forward and go behind the scenes and look at what is going on that is creating that picture that they want us to see. Why are they doing that way? Why not this other way? So that is why you see sometimes I may not really be saying what was said in an earlier, but probably I'll give you a report of how even that rally was organized, who were behind the organization, what kind of preparations did they put in place, you see. So such kind of things. So you go behind what somebody is showing you. Normally people will not tell you things but they will show you something to get an impression. So me, I go behind what is informing that impression. Not to fall find necessarily, but also to find out. Probably there's something, there's a why in every story. Yeah, so that is what keeps me going. One is experience. Having reviewed reports for a long time, you would know where stories come from. Like there are reports that are regularly released by agencies, ministries, for instance. Auditor General has reports, so we have known how these reports work. So you can easily get a 300-page report and sift through it very fast, and probably within a few minutes you'll have seen a story. If there's no story, you'll just dump it. But it's because of experience, nothing special. And then again, I have the love of reading. I love reading. I take my time to read. I would read anything. I mean, find a newspaper, read. Find a paper, anything that is written in black and white, I always read. And sometimes read between the lines, if I can use that word. Yeah.
So,
Oh, in that intro.
yes. So, what do you say about it?
It just struck me, I was visualizing these guys. They always carry something in the bag. Inside that bag, I've done my own research and I know what is in the tools. And I know how vandals, at least I have an idea of how vandals work. They take their time. So that is when I got this report, the first thing that crossed my mind was the vandal, the person. This is beyond now the three agencies that were being audited by the persons that they cannot control. And I'm happy that out of these conversations, at least even the president has now put a moratorium on scrap metal dealership, because I I put myself in the shoe of a vandal. But this vandal is not just a vandal because that is the interest he has. This is somebody who is making a living. He may not know the kind of damage he's doing to a device, but this was informed by my knowledge of how these people move around. At least I had a conversation with one, and he was very candid about how they operate. So it really helped me when this report came. The picture just came struck, and there we got the story. Yeah, because one, these people work in the night most of the time, and they don't work. It's not a day's job. I mean, they will take their time. There used to be a barrier around this road. It had pieces of missing metals. You would find one is hanging today, tomorrow it is gone. And that is what really informed this intro, because of knowledge. I always say if you want to write something, at least have some idea about it. So my rough idea took me to that intro. I'm just having a fix of time and all issues, but really I have so many ideas that we can pen. I know there are several ideas on climate change that I'm exploring to see which critical angles we can pick. There is the issue of mining and the safety around mining. This is following the incessant cases of deaths in mines, the traps that people keep going back to. I'm really keen on what keeps them going back there. Don't they have alternatives? Must they go those 80 feet deep holes every day to look for something or nothing? Because in most cases, the resource is depleted, but they still go back. So I really want to look at those aspects of why does a person keep going down there and they know it's dangerous? I think it is something that if we can get those persons who were there to tell us what is their experience and what is their motivation, then I have a very good future. It's something I'm working on. I think with time I will have it released. It's a challenging year for journalists, indeed, because of the various positions that are emerging and the interests that follow elections. I think for us, it's just to cut above those interests and be as impartial as possible. We know first, before you are a journalist, you are a citizen, and therefore you are a voter. Fine, but then we have a responsibility. We have a role to play to really shape this conversation and make it go beyond the news. We have a big role. So for us to stay in that role, we must stay in the middle ground. I would really urge journalists to try as much as possible, no matter how convincing it is, stay on the middle ground. More so on the whatever is going out to the public. It could be a Facebook post, it could be a Vimeo or a video or something that you're doing that portrays or can kind of state. And again, there's also no mistake in declaring your position. Because if you declare interest, let's say you can say, for instance, I am interested in supporting a particular party. I think that will help even your managers to deal with how to assign you or what to do with you in terms of the work that you do. But the best way, because some newsrooms are short staffed, we may not have the luxury of all teams taking a side who will write their story for the other persons, or will that story have credibility. The best way is just for people to remain neutral. Politics comes and goes. This will be my third election, I think, or the fourth that I'm covering. And with that experience of the past years, we have seen where the danger lies when you take sides, and where the danger lies when you keep giving a perception. In fact, there are papers that don't even make sense in some areas because of the perception. So we really must strive to delete that perception of the sides we're taking.